Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of the Average Podcast. This is Bryce,
This is Tim.
and today we are going to be reviewing, as of right now, the biggest animated movie to ever profit in the movie theaters. As of right now, beating out Frozen 2. Thank the Lord.
Is it really already?
I think so. Yeah,
First weekend
I'm pretty sure. Now I'm
or first weekend opening?
first weekend.
Okay,
not
okay.
all because I think Incredibles 2 is still up there.
I was like, it
Incredibles,
blew
Shrek 2.
all the records
No,
in
no,
the
no,
first
no, no.
week.
It's first weekend, which was
Gotcha.
Frozen 2 originally.
That's still impressive.
In case you don't know, we're talking about Super Mario Brothers. Came out this past weekend. We're super excited to talk about it.
From Illumination, I believe.
Yes,
So,
Illumination Studios, and I don't know if Nintendo is just like
They're-
officially now like a movie thing.
I think this is their this is them officially putting their hand in, because there's been other Nintendo projects that haven't been supported.
yeah.
I wanna say.
Well, because they actually had like their actual was it like logo at the beginning of the
Yeah.
movie and whatnot. So it's like I guess this is officially them like putting their hat in
If
the
they
ring.
keep it up like this one, I'm here for every one of them.
Yeah, so I guess in that case, I mean, the synopsis is pretty straightforward. I mean, Mario and Luigi are.
It's actually not the synopsis you thought it was going to be,
Yeah,
though.
you know,
so
go ahead,
I
you
do
do
give
it.
them credit for that.
Yeah, go ahead.
But Mario and Luigi are living in Brooklyn, I believe.
Yes, Brooklyn.
Yeah, they're living
Yeah.
in Brooklyn. They just it's hinted at very briefly that they just left a plumbing business. They're trying to start their own plumbing business. And a big job leads them down to the famous tunnels from the game, but they're deep under Brooklyn, and they get sucked into a tunnel and whisked away to Mushroom Kingdom, where Bowser is trying to kidnap the princess to make her marry him.
I was thinking about a movie and I can't, like, it's on the tip of my tongue. I literally can't remember. Oh, yeah, Batman. I was thinking about 89 Batman with Joker.
It reminds me of, well, it also like takes those notes, because I don't know anywhere in actual Mario lore that he's from Brooklyn and gets sucked away to another kingdom.
There's never been lore for Mario.
Exactly.
There's no backstory
So,
to
like,
Mario.
But that happened in the 80s Mario movie with
Yes.
John Leguizamo and Shmi from Hook. I can't think of his name. Anyways,
That's how memorable that movie was.
well, yeah.
for a lot of people, that was probably their first experience with, oh, movies can be bad.
That was my first
Really?
experience with a video game adaptation. But
I'm sorry.
that it did borrow a little bit from that kind of whisking the two brothers
Yeah,
away.
totally.
But that's about as far as it goes. So that's the extent of the
I was gonna say, that's about
synopsis. Yeah, so let's dive into the story. You want to
Totally.
kick off story?
Yeah, I can go ahead and kick us off. So I gave mine a 3 out of 5 for the story. Nothing special here about this story at all. It's pretty straightforward, but it's handled really well. It's executed better than I thought it was going to be executed, honestly. They did some pretty clever things, taking the world of Mario that is just a straight video game. Like, there's no real story behind Mario, and they somehow made it work in this movie. I'm not going to ramble too much because I don't know really what to say about it. It's like it's just that the story was way better than I thought it was going to be, but it's nothing like fantastic, but it works well for what it is, which is an Illumination movie. And
Yeah.
they have their hits and misses, but this one hit. I think it was pretty good.
Megan gave it a 4, and then I gave it a 3. I almost gave it a 2 because
Wow.
it like we said, it was pretty straight off from the games in a way, but it also
Right, yeah.
I bumped mine up to a 3 because it did bring some newness to the games.
It was refreshing.
So
Yeah.
for the story itself, I gave credit for them not doing the Princess Peach is captured and Mario goes to rescue her.
Right.
They totally avoided that storyline.
See, the more I thought about that, the more that's actually probably one of the negatives I have. If I have a negative about the story, that was probably one of them that I thought about more and more as
Really?
I sat in this movie, was that it was like, yeah, it was great to see Peach wasn't just being captured, you know, oh, she's in another castle, and that was actually a funny bit.
That was a hilarious line.
That was a pretty good one. But it was that Luigi was the one who got captured. It's kind of like, but they were playing so well off of each other, and I feel like we really missed a great like buddy movie with those
Luigi
two.
did get kind of sidetracked for this, but they also played into his Haunted Mansion games
a little bit,
which
some good sequences.
I really enjoyed that stuff. So like I actually appreciated them not doing the kidnapped princess storyline.
Oh, totally. Me too.
Because I feel like that opens it up for it to happen in the future.
Right, exactly.
And it established Peach as more than just her traditional like stuck in the castle, not much of a character.
She actually has a bit of character in this movie, and it's not in a way that I think the trailers were almost like tricking you into thinking it was. It was definitely more of like one way I heard it was a Fiona and Shrek kind of female character. I think she fits it really well.
I honestly thought this movie was going to do the kidnapped princess and Mario shows up and have to. I thought it was. And so I was taken by surprise that she was not. And I was pleasantly surprised by that fact.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the story of, I don't know, the story just kept it, like you said, it took a video game that didn't have a real dense story and gave it some meaning to things like the invincibility star at the beginning and why that's significant.
Yeah, they kind of threw that like right out of the gate.
Yeah,
it's like, okay,
boom.
I guess, I'm cool with that.
Bowser's got the star, and that's why this is important. And then all the little video games. Well, that gets into other parts of my score, but
we'll definitely get there.
I was pleasantly surprised by the story. It wasn't groundbreaking in any ways, but it was a fun story.
Yeah, totally. So next on the list, character.
Ooh, this is where I docked it.
Kick us off.
Okay, so because I grade on the character arc, and
fair.
the journey that they go on, I gave it a 1.
Wow, I thought it was gonna be a 2, but kudos.
Because there really wasn't. It establishes in the opening scene that Mario doesn't know when to stop, and he's willing to stand up against bigger and badder people.
True.
And that's in the opening scene, and that is who he is through the whole movie. That part does not change. That the 1 is not a reflection on how likable these characters are, because every single one of these characters I enjoyed. Toad was fantastic. I loved Toad. Luigi got a little sidetracked, so he didn't really have much in this movie, unfortunately.
Yeah, right.
But like we said, Princess Peach was great, but no, this isn't the kind of movie where characters go on like deep arcs.
Right.
Like there isn't much deep storytelling here. It's like, this is the character, this is what they do, this is how they're successful at the end. And the 1 isn't really like, I felt bad giving it a 1 because I love this movie, but there's no character arc here. It's just a journey or an adventure, and who they are at the beginning is pretty much who they are at the end. It was just a fun ride.
Yeah, no, I get where you're coming with that. I actually gave mine a 3 out of 5. What did Megan give hers?
Megan gave it a 5.
Wow. Okay.
I think she's basing it on characters.
Maybe she knows something we don't. I gave mine a 3 out of 5. I agree with you for the most part. These characters are pretty one note, but I think that the way they're executed and written in the story, I think they all pull it off really well. I think it fits. Again, Luigi is kind of the bummer of the movie, because like I really wish I got more of him and Mario together.
He was always kind of my favorite Mario character.
I know he's just so likable.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's kind of disappointing to see him not really shine until the end, pun intended.
Ooh.
But
I guess that's not fair of me. I probably could have bumped it up because I forgot that while he's sidetracked,
wait, no spoilers.
No, but he does have probably the strongest arc of any of them.
Actually, yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that.
But it's unfortunate because he's forgotten for a solid third of the movie, so I forget to count him in.
Yeah, he's really not in the movie like a lot. The more I'm thinking, he doesn't really. Yeah, I can't think of a lot of parts where he stands out, honestly, and that stinks.
After the end of the first act, he's gone until the third.
Yeah, and we'll get into it with acting, because I think Charlie Day did great with Luigi, but yeah, for the most part, I liked where the characters went and what they did. And they don't really have a true eye-opening arc by any stretch of the imagination. They tried to do it with Mario towards the end a little bit. I think it just falls flat. It doesn't really hit the emotional note that I think they were going for. But I can't say
the father storyline.
Yeah, the father. It doesn't quite hit the way that they were going for with that.
That was one that I was honestly. I appreciated the fact that they didn't try to make it super deep because this movie doesn't need it, and even that felt a little out of place in the film.
Yeah, a little bit, but yeah, I think overall the characters were all well written in the story and for what their purpose was to serve in that movie.
Yep. So that takes us to music and sound, which Megan gave it a 5 and I gave it a 5 because I thought the music itself was fine.
Yeah.
I appreciated most of the songs chosen were 80s songs, which I took as a nod to the generation of people that Mario was very formative to.
Exactly.
And so I appreciated that music choice. They fit appropriately, but the way they incorporated the sound effects from the game into the soundtrack itself, the iconic music from the game made appearances mixed in with the soundtrack. It wasn't like, here, we cut the score to incorporate this. You could hear like the piano notes from when they're in subterranean levels. And
exactly.
They hit all those little notes that bring you right back to the game. And it was pure joy to hear and experience. And so that's why I gave it a 5 because I'm looking for something iconic and they hit all of those iconic moments.
Yep. You said it best. I gave it a 4 out of 5. I mean, I'm with you with that. I think I just really appreciated the creativeness of using something that we all know in Mario, which I mean, outside of Mario himself and just his like figure, like I think the music is pretty iconic in gaming just as a whole.
From the sound of the flagpole going down to
Basically, Mario is one of the flagships when it comes to music and video games. And so an applause, if you will, for this man. Who was it that did the music?
Who did compose it?
I don't know off the top of my head. But I mean, just absolutely,
they did a great job.
Yeah, he did a phenomenal job. I was very, very impressed and happy with just how creative he was with the score and using basically almost every song from the Mario catalog that I can think of that was like relevant to the original Super Mario Brothers game. And I mean, even a shout out to
music was by Brian Tyler.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, and also sound design overall, like your 80s vibes were also good too. I think it worked for what they were going for. It was just a fun moments when you got to hear this, especially Take On Me.
There is not a moment that I don't appreciate Take On Me.
And that makes me think of his acoustic version he did recently. That was just, so beautiful.
Yeah.
He still has good chords. Anyway, also great sound design overall from like the actual game the sounds from the video game itself and how they use that within the game. And it just sounded so good. I mean, 4 out of 5. It was really well done. I think anyone who plays Mario or knows Mario will get a joy out of the sound and music.
Yeah. And that takes us to editing and special effects.
Ooh, baby.
Which Megan gave that a 5. I also gave it a 5 because this movie, we talked about in Puss in Boots, embracing the non-realistic style of art. This movie rides that line where things don't look real, like they don't have the right proportions. They're not following human anatomy necessarily. It's very much based on a cartoon. It's just modern animation.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's a little bit like making a cartoon look realistic. It's somewhere between, like I always think Toy Story went for realism.
Yeah, probably.
With its human figures. Like there's that
fun fact about that first movie, all the human designs for the kids at the party, they're all Andy's design.
Are they really?
You didn't know? Yeah, you didn't know that? All of the designs are the same kid, and it's super funny when you're rewatching it.
I always think back to in the second one, is it Al from Al's Toy Barn?
Yes.
Like there's a couple close-ups of his face that just look so they looked realistic then. I haven't watched it in a couple of years, but like this movie doesn't go for that. This movie goes for some nice, clean, modern cartooning
with like a touch of like you were saying. It's a nice modern cartoon style, but it like still has that classic. I want to say I don't want to say like classic as in like super like 2000s cartoony feel
Yes.
with the way that the characters interact with each other and the surroundings in their environment. Does
Honestly,
that make sense?
Yeah, honestly, there are moments in this when I'm like, I'm in a movie version of a video game.
Yes,
It wasn't
exactly.
it wasn't like, oh, this looks bad like a video game. I was like, this looks like
Mhm.
the best video game I've ever seen, and I'm here for it. And it was just the effects were beautiful at times.
Mhm.
I gave it I gave it a 5 because it was pretty awesome. It was
Yeah.
just they found the right balance for this one, I would say.
Yeah, totally.
They didn't go overboard. They didn't play it too safe. They hit the sweet spot for their animation.
Yeah, absolutely. I gave mine a 4 out of 5. Mostly just because, again, the animation from the Illumination is always super crisp and clean, and they always have a good time doing it. It looks like, but I think I'm just used to seeing it at this point. You know, all the Despicable Me movies that they've made. I know they made other stuff, and the Dr. Seuss movies. They've made a lot of those. I'm pretty sure.
Any of those.
I've seen them. I just can't remember.
I didn't like Despicable Me 1, so I haven't seen.
Oh, you didn't like
any
that
of it,
one?
No.
Oh, I
No,
like that
did not.
movie. I mean, the second one's okay, I guess, but I haven't even seen the third one, so
Yeah.
whatever, I guess. But yeah, I mean, outside of the fact that I'm just kind of used to that animation, I think it is still a very, very well done movie. It doesn't feel too busy on the screen at all. It feels, I mean, it's busy in the sense of an animated kids movie, especially when they get the go-karts going and stuff. There's definitely a lot of stuff going on, but it's still
that Mad Max style
yeah, that's
Mario
a good way
Kart
to put
scene.
it, actually.
Like it was Mario Kart and Mad Max together, and I was like, "This is everything I've ever wanted." It is amazing.
That was actually a really good way. I didn't think about it like that, but yeah, that's exactly what it was. But yeah, I mean, they do phenomenal work in the animation department. The editing is super crispy and clean. I like some of the ways that they frame some of the scenes where it turns into a side scroller. And that was really smart and really witty that they went that route with a couple of the scenes. Yeah, I mean, nothing but praise. 4 out of 5. I thought it was really well done.
So that takes us to script.
Okay, shall I lead off?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll lead off on this one.
I think because in hindsight, I'd probably agree with your score, but
No, yeah, that's fine. Mine was a 3 out of 5. I don't know really what to say. I mean, it was a good script overall, but at the end of the day, it's still an animated kids movie. So I mean,
Based
there's
on a
nothing like
video game.
super special there. I will say, I could see someone arguing a 4 with a lot of the callbacks and references and how they interweave it into the script and make it seem kind of seamless.
I think that's why I gave it a 4.
Okay,
because
no, that makes sense.
That's exactly like, there's really nothing to the story itself that's special.
Not at all.
The way the characters interact, nothing special. But there's, like you said, when they were like, oh, the princess is in another castle in dialogue.
Exactly.
And I'm like, that's genius. And it worked. And I laughed and it was funny. And so there are those moments that call to the game.
Mm-hmm.
And I did appreciate in the script the way they incorporated like the power-ups and a lot of those game elements.
Yep.
That you really like.
The blue shell was really dope.
The
honestly.
blue shell. It caught me off guard, and then I was like, "Oh!"
I know. I was like, that was actually one of the dopest moments of the movie.
Yep.
Honestly, I was like, that was so cool.
We were sitting in this theater full of families.
Oh yeah, it was a bunch of kids, and
I noticed the whole time I didn't hear kids laughing.
I heard a couple kids.
Okay, I did not hear kids laughing. I heard parents laughing.
Oh yeah, the parents were loving
because
it.
This script plays to people who have played the games.
Yes.
So if you've played any Mario game, the humor is gonna land. Just like, when Mario was first learning the course that the princess put up, and he'd fail 1,000 times, and it's just like, yeah. We have all been there on those games.
Literally a callback to any Mario game you played.
Yes, anybody playing the game. And I thought those were the moments that the script shone, and went...
Shined. Wait,
shone?
maybe it is shown.
Those were the moments the script did a great job.
Yeah, exactly.
And they were just a little bit better than... I think that's why I gave it a 4, because of those moments that were great.
Oh yeah, I think a 4 is totally reasonable. Like I said,
Megan gave it a 5. But
I don't.
I
blame her
also like if
necessarily.
you really love those callbacks and things like this movie did take me back to my childhood with
They
all
were
of those
genuinely really good lines.
things. Yes,
Like, they were.
so like
I still-
I can see the variety of scores that this would bring
Oh, totally.
because the movie is at once nothing special and everything you ever wanted at the same time.
I know exactly. Like, I still crack up with that. Oh, she's in another castle.
It's like so good.
That's so good. All right, what's up next?
Next we have the acting.
Okay, I'll let you kick this one off. I'm curious.
All right, the acting.
You-
I just
you and
gave it a
Megan.
3. It was good.
Okay.
Megan gave it a 4. I didn't really have any spots that I necessarily was like, ooh, that was bad. I appreciate in voice acting when I can't identify the voice.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And for the most part, this movie succeeded in that. Like, I honestly did not know it was Anya Taylor-Joy as Princess Peach.
I always struggle to recognize her voice whenever I hear her in voice acting.
Like, everybody knows Mario was Chris Pratt. I know that was like a major concern going into it, his Italian accent.
I might have a hot take about that.
Well,
so.
I actually didn't mind his voice.
Right.
Charlie got me more. Charlie Day as Luigi.
As in you liked him more?
No, there were a couple moments that I thought he was like pushing the high.
The classic Charlie Day.
Yeah, it was
It's Always
just,
Sunny in Philadelphia.
yeah, it was just a little bit too much. Jack Black knocked it out of the park.
Oh my gosh, he was fantastic.
amazing.
I didn't know I would want Jack Black as Bowser, and yeah, I can't think of anyone else who would have done it better.
No, I honestly, there were moments that if you didn't know it was Jack Black, you, I mean,
There's not many
You'd be
moments you
surprised.
notice it. Like his,
No.
like it's been already announced, but he does sing like a quick song in this movie. That's the only time I noticed it was Jack Black. Like outside of that one part,
yeah.
you can't really tell honestly.
But also, even he sang it in his character's voice, which
Yeah.
is just another credit to Jack Black being amazing. 'cause
which is it shouldn't work, but it's another
was so-
funny part of
it
the
was so
movie.
funny.
I
It
don't
was
understand.
stupidly funny.
Yeah, I'm with Megan. I gave mine a 4 out of 5. I genuinely thought Chris Pratt was really good in this movie. Like I like you can still kind of hear his voice, but like for the most part, I bought him as Mario in
Yes,
this movie.
I would
He did
agree.
a fantastic job, I thought. Charlie Day, I really dug as Luigi. Yeah, he kind of hits his Charlie Day like high pitch,
Well, see, I
tones or
like
whatever.
that from him. I
Yeah.
just thought he got a little screechy with it because he was already doing a high voice.
Right. I get
And
that.
so when Charlie Day does his excited Charlie Day and it just gets higher, I was like, oh, you're just like bringing down a little bit.
just a
Just
hair.
a little bit.
Yeah, I thought they were both actually really, really good in this movie. I never really understood. Like, I get it. We talked about it actually. Does anyone really want to hear the original Mario voice for the entirety of an hour and 30-minute long movie?
Right.
I don't think anyone would have liked that necessarily. But they still get some good callbacks to that voice.
Yes, they do. It
I
was
think both
clever.
from
Both of them.
both of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
from Chris and the original actor. So I loved both of them. But yeah, they both did great. Anna Taylor-Joy did a really good job as Peach as well. Like we said, Jack Black was phenomenal. Keegan was also surprisingly good as Toad. Did you not know that was Toad?
I didn't even know that was Toad.
Yeah, you didn't even know
he
it
was
until you
so
read
good
it.
as Toad.
He did a really good job.
Toad was one of my standout characters.
Yeah.
Like I love Toad in this
And
movie.
here's the thing: I would have made it a 5, like without a question.
I know who you had a problem with.
I cannot stand Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong.
See,
I don't like his voice in general.
I didn't
honestly.
mind him. The problem I had with him as Donkey Kong was that I was going, I know that voice.
Exactly. I
That
think
was my problem.
It's like it's just his, and I'm not saying like anyone else didn't have just their voice. Like Anna Taylor-Joy did her voice, I think, mostly for Peach.
Charlie Day always does Charlie
Day is Charlie Day.
But we love Charlie Day.
Exactly.
for
It's a little
Charlie Day.
different. But yeah, I can't get it out of my head that I think there was a better actor out there who could have voiced Donkey Kong. I don't know who it would have been. I'd have to really think about that, but I did not care for his acting as Donkey Kong, but that's the only reason it's a 4 out of 5, because otherwise everyone else did great. And it's not that I hated him as Donkey Kong. I just think it was poor casting and there could have been someone better.
See, the problem I had was his voice in this, I thought sounded a lot like Danny McBride.
Interesting.
So there were
Okay.
a couple times I was like, is that Danny McBride? Because I didn't look up who was playing who in the movie.
Oh, really? You didn't? at
No,
all?
I didn't.
Okay.
So it's like, is that Danny McBride? No, that's not Danny McBride. Who is that? And so there were a couple of times that it took me out of the movie.
Exactly. That's how I felt for the most part. But otherwise, everyone did great.
Yes.
That leads us from
To the direction.
Yeah, to the direction. I can kick us off here. I gave it a 4 out of 5. I thought when I originally, before we went, I wanted to see how long this movie was, and I mean, I don't know what I was expecting. I guess I was thinking like, it might be a 2-hour movie or so. I was like, hour and 30 minutes. Okay, that's comforting to know. I was also really tired, and so we just got back from vacation.
We're all pretty tired.
And we
that
were
night.
all pretty tired, so I was like, I hope this is a quicker movie. Yeah, this movie, I mean,
Literally flew by.
it does. It flies by in a good way. It's not a bad thing. I think there was definitely a world where there's too much of this movie, and I think it hit the sweet spot with the direction of and where they took this movie. I don't think there's not like a ton of downtime. There are some parts that might kind of slow the story down, I guess, a little bit, but it's a kid's movie. I mean, I don't know what you're going into this expecting really, but I think for what we got, again, with a video game property that has no story behind it at all, I thought it was pretty well done, directionally speaking. I think, if anything, maybe the beginning takes a little bit to pick up, but it doesn't really take that long. You kind of go in and you're going quickly. After that, it's a 4 out of 5. I don't really have much complaints about it.
No, I think I gave it for directing, I gave it a 4 out of 5, and a lot of that 4 comes for the way the director chose to incorporate the game elements.
Yeah,
hitting those sweet spots all together. Like the Rainbow Road, from Rainbow Road Mario Kart to choosing your cart.
Yeah.
And souping up your own individual vehicle to just
that vehicle sequence was super fun.
It's a highlight of the movie. It was so good.
That was hilarious. I didn't think they'd go as hard as they did with it. Like, and I say hard in the sense that how detailed they were to like how Mario Kart is played out.
Yes.
And I loved that. I thought that was hilarious.
And there were little parts like I love that the director did, like the first scene when Mario and another character show up to save the day in Mushroom Kingdom.
Yeah.
And they use their power-ups, and I've never seen in the video game the other character use that specific power-up. And so the way they changed his coloring, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was
like
really well
it was
done.
just one of those little subtle things that was like, this is new and I like it.
Exactly right.
But then like the director chose to not cut for that action sequence, and it just you follow these characters through, and it was a blast. It was a ton of fun. So I gave it a 5.
What Megan gave it?
No, I gave it a 4. Sorry, I believe Megan gave it a 4 as well.
Okay. Well,
no, she gave it a 5.
Oh, okay, and I don't blame her for that. That leads us to our it factor. Why don't you take this one away?
Well, as you said at the beginning, it is the highest opening weekend for a kids movie. For an animated movie. So that's a 5 out of 5. But also the it factor, I think, for me, not just breaking a record immediately, but this is a movie that speaks to many generations of people.
Okay. Yeah.
From my parents who used to play Mario with me as a kid to me probably one day going to play Mario with a kid.
Oh,
you know,
you
like
don't play Mario with your kids and you're a gamer. Come on.
This movie, I think the box office already speaks to the universal appeal to Mario.
Yeah. It's literally like blown up.
Well, and after seeing it, I mean, we'll get into our final thoughts, but like after seeing it, I understand why.
Oh, totally.
I understand why. I'll go into more of my final thoughts.
Oh,
but
me too. Trust me.
I think Megan also gave it a 5 on it factor.
I mean, I don't argue a 5. I gave it a 4 out of 5. But I didn't think this movie was gonna like when I was rating this, like I already knew it was really popular with the general audience. Some of those movie critics,
which we are emulating, and
interesting how the table turns. But I didn't think this movie was going to just skyrocket the way it has. And that's why I don't argue a 5. You can even take mine and make it a 5 if you really wanted to. I think the only reason I gave it a 4 was just from a video game movie standpoint. It's really nothing new, but I think the fact that it is the highest grossing weekend for an animated movie, the fact that it's one of our few video game movies that actually hits and it's really good.
I would wonder what it compares to video game movie opening weekends.
Yes, that would be very interesting because
Off the top of my head, the only other one that might come close, and I don't even know, it was Detective Pikachu, and that's loosely based on a video
and
game.
that was a pretty good movie.
That was another.
I still haven't seen it. I want to though.
It was a fun, like, original, different take on. I want more of it. Honestly,
Right.
I enjoyed it, but
Yeah, that's the only other movie I can think of. I mean, Sonic the Hedgehog did it good. And that was
because
a good
Assassin's Creed was a
Ugh.
steaming pile of poop. What?
I'm literally trying to think of like.
Aeon Flux. There's been a bunch, but they all suck. So
I almost said Alita Battle Angel, but I'm like, no, I'm wanting that to be.
That's
a video
based on a
game
manga.
movie,
Yeah,
but that movie was good too.
I enjoyed that movie.
But yeah, I mean, all that to be said, I mean, this could easily be a 5. I don't argue that. I think I just gave it a 4 just because. I mean, I don't even
Because
really.
you struggle to give anything a 5.
Well, I mean, if I don't know. It's another video game movie and it's another animated video game movie. I think that's the only reason I just gave it a 4. It could be a 5. I don't see why it can't be. So, I mean, I could definitely give wiggle room there, but yeah, you hit it home. This movie is definitely going to have some ripple effects, I think, especially for video game movies. Last of Us is another one that's helping with that tidal wave.
True.
So I think we're going to real soon see a lot of possible video game movies being made, both animated and live action, I think.
So that takes us to our final
entertainment
value and final score. Yeah. So you want me to kick it off?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
Fine.
I gave it a 10 out of 10.
Okay, nice.
That takes my final score, by the way, up to a 41.
Nice.
I was thoroughly entertained from beginning to end.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just had a complete blast with this movie. I think the biggest reason anybody would be disappointed in this movie is if they're going in expecting like something deeper.
Oh, totally.
This movie has nothing deep to provide. And it's almost better that it doesn't because it just focuses on capturing the fun you have playing Mario. And it made me, I watched it and I was like, I want to go home and play Mario. That's a successful video game adaptation.
That's pretty successful there.
It made me want to go home, break out the game and just start playing it. And I mean, I'll probably own this when it comes out because it was one I was riding home with my wife and I was like, if we had a kid and they put this on repeat, I wouldn't be upset about it.
I would watch it every time.
I would be fine with it because it was a blast of a movie. It was just a ton of fun.
Yeah. What about Megan? What was
Megan? Her entertainment value was an 8, and her final score was actually a 46.
Wow. I'm surprised. That's awesome.
She seemed to enjoy the movie.
That's good. She was laughing a lot. So she really liked it. That's cool. Yeah. I gave mine an 8 out of 10 also. Mostly again, I was thoroughly entertained for this outside of like a couple nitpicks that I guess almost no movie is ever perfect per se. So while the movie still has its flaws, I still had a blast watching this movie. The beginning is slow to pick up a little bit, I guess, but outside of that, once it's going, it's just going. It's so much fun, honestly. All the callbacks, the references. I mean, usually nostalgia is used to the detriment of a movie. Not this one.
Nope.
I think they all hit their spots where they get brought up, both as jokes and as part of the script. It was a blast. I had a lot of fun. 8 out of 10, which I believe takes mine to a 37? That seems low.
Yeah.
37, 38.
I mean, it's like we said, I can see the variety of scores here.
Yeah, totally.
But I think the entertainment value for all of us speaks we are all 8 to 10. We're all high-end entertained, but the movie itself, honestly, it shouldn't win any awards.
See, that's what always fascinates me when we come to our final conclusions on our scores, because I've said in a couple episodes where like my score really doesn't always like tell the full story of how I felt about a movie, but I think that's what's great about these scores is that it kind of puts it in a box that is reasonable for when someone goes into that movie to set their expectations at.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, like a 37 to me feels low, but I'm like, actually thinking about it, it's probably where people should set their expectations because there really isn't anything they should go in expecting this movie to like break new ground.
Right.
In. Like
it's not going to be the best animated movie ever.
Exactly. It's so simple that people love that about it.
Yes.
I think is because of how simple it is and how it sticks to its like whatever source material you want to say it sticks to.
I think keeping it simple is what has made it so successful and so entertaining.
Absolutely.
By
Oh, yeah.
not trying to add so much depth, by not trying to add this expansive lore.
Right.
Like, even Mario at points in this movie is like, oh, okay, these bricks are just floating in midair and I'm okay with this. And I'm like, yeah, you didn't need to go and explain how things work.
Yeah, although
It's just there.
the one thing that they did was when he hit on top of the box and it came out of the top of the box, I was like, that's not right. But anyway. But yeah, final thoughts, I guess. Let's just kind of, shoot it around.
I was already giving them.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know if you had anything else there.
No, it's just like if you played Mario at any point in your life and enjoyed it, this movie's worth your time.
Yeah. One thing I didn't think about until this very moment was kind of like, is it okay to start having faith in video game movies moving forward?
No.
I like how quickly you jumped on that one.
You can't trust them.
You can't trust any of them.
Nope.
Well, it's just like because we got Sonic. Sonic was like the first one where like there was kind of
people
like,
loved it.
oh my gosh, that was actually a good one. The second one did really well too.
Yeah,
Last of Us is doing great on HBO, and for the most part, I've heard everyone say it's a really solid show. Like,
yeah, even people who have no idea what the game is are enjoying.
yeah,
that.
we're playing through the game right now, and so
I mean, the Halo TV series.
You shut your mouth.
It was pretty terrible.
I didn't even give it a chance. I knew it was going to be bad.
I watched it because I've actually never played Halo on story mode.
I'm amazed you have never played Halo in story mode.
I don't like first-person shooters.
Well, I thought you would do it for the story. Like I played it for the story mostly.
See, I don't like first-person shooters. I'm a third-person stealth usually when I play games.
Yeah.
So Halo was not my thing, and I started watching the show for like some good sci-fi action. And the show didn't even really provide
weren't you
that.
disappointed?
Yes, it didn't even really do that. So
yeah, but I mean, I just throw it out there because it's like we've got two Sonic movies, we got Last of Us, we got Super Mario Bros. I don't know. Maybe the discussion comes up. Is it fair to start having some more faith in video game movies moving forward? Now I know that this is going to cause a lot of bad ones to probably be made now because there's a lot of studios who are going to get overconfident, I think, and make some really bad video game movies.
But it does have me looking forward to Super Mario Bros. 2.
Oh yeah, stay after the credits. There's a nice little teaser
and
there.
We don't even know if that tease is for Mario or a spin-off or
yeah, it could be fun.
Like, but if it's the same people who wrote this and same team putting this together,
right?
It's clear that they had a passion for the source material, which again, there's not a lot.
I think you watch this movie and walk away thinking, "Oh yeah, these people played Mario. Like these people are passionate
and they loved
about the
Mario.
games. Yeah,
and they loved Mario, and that shows in every frame of this film.
Oh, absolutely,
it's worth your time.
Yep, absolutely.
That takes our average to a 41, which puts it at amazing.
That's pretty. I think that's very nice.
Yep. So
I like that one.
It's 41 puts it at amazing, and I had an amazing time watching it. So
I'm glad you did because I did too.
Yeah, it was a good movie. Good movie.
Yeah, well, that wraps up this episode, I'd say. Yeah, let us know what's that?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I talked over you.
No,
we don't have like headphones, so that'd be a really nice.
Let
touch,
us know
honestly.
what you think, and then I think we're gonna try to come out with Renfield next.
Is that the next one?
Yeah, it comes out this weekend.
Oh, does it? Man, that came up quick.
I know. I thought we still had a little bit of time on that one, but yeah.
So that'll probably be our next one. Yeah, let us know what you thought on Super Mario Bros. Though. Give us your ratings, and we'll continue to add that to our average.
Did you have as much fun as we did? We want to
tell us. We don't know. We're not in your head, so we don't know what you're thinking.
If you haven't been to the theater for a while, it's kind of worth going for this one.
I was gonna say, like, honestly, a lot of good movies this year.
See this in 3D if you can.
Oh yeah, I really wish I saw this in 3D. We were talking about that as we left.
I don't normally like 3D movies, but this was one that 3D. I know in some of the bigger cities. We don't have it around us, but they have 4DX where your seats move and you get fans and stuff. And that is probably the perfect way to watch this movie.
Oh, that'd be so. I don't even know where those exist, honestly.
I've been to one in Nashville. We saw Spider-Man there.
Which one?
On it, No Way Home.
Oh man,
it's a cool experience, but I think like the experience is for this kind of movie, like the Mario Kart sequences in this film in a chair that moves. Yes.
Oh yeah, totally. But yeah, I mean, let us know what you thought about that. Renfield will probably be on our next one if things go according to plan. But otherwise, thanks for listening to the episode. Make sure you subscribe, you like, you rate, you comment,
follow, do all the normal stuff.
All the stuff you clearly don't take the time to do, and that's okay because we don't either.
I don't do it either, so
we're too lazy. But yeah, thanks for listening to the episode. We look forward to seeing you guys in the next one and seeing your reviews for both Mario and possibly Renfield. So
until next time,
we'll see you later.